Hello, hello, hello. How's it going? Turn down the music a bit. There we go. How's it going? How's it going? How you doing, Yazoo? Thank you for the hydrate rocks. It's been a hot minute since we worked on this project, but I don't want to leave it by the wayside. And since I didn't have a collab, and this weekend didn't have a plan for a collab, it'd be a good opportunity to pick this back up. Akba Blank. Thank you, Yazoo. Thank you for the resub. 14 months. Nice. Much appreciated. It's hard to understate how much you mean to me, so I appreciate it. Alrighty. So let's see. So let me pull up the game as it currently looks. There we go, I got it set up as a browser source. So we got onions with different colors that spawn Pikmin of those colors, and then those Pikmin go and they grab pellets, bring them back to the onions, and that spawns more Pikmin. And it currently displays itself, but we got some AI to wander around randomly until they find something they can do, and they go do the thing. So pretty cool. Not much of a game yet, but we got some good systems in place already, and with more to go. See, I think I currently have like a little yellow dot set at their origin points that we could maybe get rid of, or at least comment that out for now. But anyway, that's where we're at. And when I reopened this project, I remembered we currently have almost 900. We have 887 lines of code in here, all in one file. So I think first things first today, what I'd like to do is start splitting some of the stuff up into separate files so we can clean this up a bit. So let's start there. Not the most exciting thing to do, but it's good practice when you're coding things to keep things clean as possible when needed. So let's start by splitting out all the sprite data into its own file. So here we got this big sprites list. And that's like a big chunk of our file right there. So let's just put that up, put it into its own file. There you go, that's 320 lines just from that. I think we also have some sprite mapping here, yeah. Like all the Pikmin maturity sprites, color sprites, onion sprites, pellet sprites. All of that can get moved over. There we go. So now the sprite data lives in that file. Then we got some random little helper functions here. Just little bits of code that we're going to be using multiple places, but aren't really directly related to the game logic. Things like generating random numbers. Now we can move all of that into like a utilities file. Call utils.typescript.ts. There we go. And then we have all of these type definitions and describe the shape of our sprites, the types of Pikmin colors, maturity levels, all of that. All of this can also get moved out. Let's call this one types. Our type definitions. There you go, this makes this a little bit more manageable. So now we just have the gameplay logic in here, and nothing else. I guess the rendering logic too. So that's another thing we could potentially split by. So we can move the rendering logic out. So that all lives here in the run script. we just got everything on this one thing. So maybe not. I'll leave it as is for now. Alright, so even though we've made those changes, the code should still just run the same as it always has. So if I reload it... Actually, the page doesn't load. Interesting. Oh, it's because we're only loading one of the files, not all of them. And let's change this to use imports then. I think that should just work as is. I forget. How does importing work? So I think it should just still load if we do that. So let's see. Say export for all of these. Oh. Sounds weird. There we go. Export all this. Man, I'm tired. My schedule's thrown off today. Now Sprites is complaining, we'll get to that. Export all of this stuff. Alright, then it's complaining about a bunch of things that it can't find anymore because we moved it to its own file. So we'll just add all missing imports. There we go. And then we need to fix that for index as well. There we go. So let's see, does the browser game work now? No. Okay, so we did break something here. Let's find out what. So we pull up the game here. It's currently just a white screen. For declarations may only appear at top level of the module. It does look like the top level. What am I missing? Oh, I think I have to indicate that it's a module somewhere. Let's see. It's been a while since I've done this type of project before. Script type equals module. I think that's what we're looking for. How about now? Nope. Same origin policy just allows reading the remote resource. Okay, That's gonna be a problem if we can't load other JavaScript files here. So go and drop back to the drawing board on that then. Let's remove all of our exports and imports here. Remove all that. All that. Get rid of the imports. There we go. So now we're no longer using modules. And I think we configure TypeScript to put it all in one file. Yeah. So instead of an out directory to output everything to, let's output just one file. Well, AMD and system modules. Let's say system. What's going on here? Music from it, I don't recognize it. Supposedly this is a Pikmin 2 OST. Apparently this is the giant bread bug music. Guess I never paid attention to it. Yeah, I don't know either. Okay, there we go. So now all this stuff is in one file. So does this work? No? Okay. So now our files are in the wrong order. We can fix that though. We'll just delay our first run. No. Uh-huh. How do I fix this? TypeScript. Add file order. Imagine it's probably doing this in alphabetical order. So what happens if we do, like... I don't know. You can just, like, put an underscore in front of all these. before its declaration. Ah, la, la. This is obnoxious. I guess we can move all these up. Now what is that unhappy about? Still says used before declaration. They're in here. Man, I did not expect everything to break so badly just by moving things to different files. That is unfortunate. Expect the unexpected. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so the problem is we can only load one file at a time. So maybe I just need to manually load each file. Maybe that'll work. It's a little bit gross, but... So instead of that, we go back to this one. Dump everything in the JavaScript folder. Everything's fine again. We got all these different files. Now we just load all the files that we need in the order we need them. There we go. Load all those different JavaScript files. Okay, there we go. Now we got the game working again. Very good. And then the same one on the browser source. Yep. Very nice. Okay, so we're back to a functional state. Perfect. I can't... What's wrong with my brain today? I can't think. Like, I'm staring and I'm looking at things and my brain is just not working. I'm gonna turn down the audio a little bit. Maybe I should just turn down my headphones instead of the stream music. Thinking? Gross. Who needs to do that? Okay. Oof. Let's just hide that for now. Okay. So, what do you think the next gameplay element we should work on should be? So I think we could add other collectibles. Like maybe we could add, what's it called? The yellow goop that they drink up. Nectar. We could add nectar to change them from leaves to flowers. We could start working on adding enemies that could attack. We could add a captain to try to delegate commands instead of all of them acting on their own. Nectar monsters, I'd say. Alright. Well, since we already have some of the maturity stuff worked out, why don't we start with nectar? Let's see if we have sprites for that. Let me open this with GIMP. There we go. Wrong screen. There we go. Let me get the game out of the way. There we go. So this is our sprite sheet as it currently stands, and this is the one I was stealing all the sprites from. Oh yeah, we also have the buds. Or the seeds. So that's another one that we should probably do. So we got candy pops. I guess these are supposed to be, maybe. No, there's no purple one. So we got the finished sprays. I don't see any liquid puddles. So that we might have to make ourselves. Alright, so let me try my hand at spraying stuff. I'm not super talented at it, but we can maybe throw something simple together. There we go, put the grid on. Make a magenta. I need to figure out how to set this as the default again. Okay. I'm just gonna put something in the corner up here. Okay, so a nectar drop. Let's look at what it looks like in Pikmin. Do I have a window open? Already I closed it. That's where it went. Okay. So we got different types of nectar. This is a whole thing. What is this from? Pikmin Bloom. So here we go. So this is what it looks like in Pikmin 3. So we can see it's kind of a round slime-like shape. Where it's bright yellow on the outsides, and then kind of darker as you get further in, and then there's a highlight on it. So let's see if we can draw something like that. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to start by borrowing the colors from this over here. And so far everything has had a black pixel outline, it looks like. So we should probably start there. Search the pencil tool. Pixel size 1. There we go. We got our pixel placing tool. So how large is nectar normally? There's an art stream now, yep. So looks like it's a fair bit wider than a single Pikmin, generally speaking. Probably about 3 or 4 Pikmin across. So let's use that as our starting point. So Pikmin is currently, you know, about 12 pixels wide. So I'm thinking we probably use a 2x2 section for the nectar. We won't use all of that space, but it's definitely larger than a palette in this system. So let's start by making a circle. Approximately the shape we want, and then can use this tool to just draw a line. There we go. Look at that, easy circle. So it's not quite an exact circle though. The bottom half is flatter and the top half is rounder. So something we can do here is we can just draw this again, but with a flatter edge to it. first, delete the current bottom half of this nectar. There we go, draw a flatter circle. And a little bit less flat. There we go. Something like that. Fill in the lines. And it's slightly off. Dang it. So with that, I just need to make it thinner. Close enough. And we're gonna just shift all this over a few pixels. There we go. Delete that middle line. That doesn't look quite right still. I think the bottom line needs to be slightly rounder. I wonder if we can just fix that here by shifting this down. Up a little bit. I don't know. It might be fine. I'll add more shading to it as well. So let's start there. And then let's grab kind of a middle color. Where's the eyedropper? There it is. So let's use like this darker yellowish orange here. There we go. Then we grab the brighter yellow. We're going to want to paint that in along the outside edges. So going kind of off this one. So especially along the top, it's got kind of a red or yellow outline around it. Let's paint in 2 pixels worth of yellow around the outside edge. Whoops. Something like that. And then we can delete that entire half and copy it over, so we only have to do one half for now. And then there is still yellow on the bottom side, but it's less of it. It's kind of got this underglow. So let's just do 1 pixel's worth of yellow on the bottom. There we go, that kind of creates the illusion of depth there. So then also just slowly fades to becoming darker and darker towards the center. So let's grab this middle orangish yellow. Just paint in a little bit further out from this line. Look at me, I am totally an artist, guys. Unlike the thin yellow line here, I think the orange line should be thicker all the way around. There we go. That kind of gives the illusion of it. And this yellow pixel here is kind of sticking out to me, so I'm just gonna place that with orange there. Cool. So I'd say that borrows all the colors that are in this one. And it's good for a retro-style game to borrow colors from existing sprites. Makes the whole game feel more cohesive if your color palette's the same all the way around. So we can just delete that half, copy this half, flip it around, put it over there. There we go. And then we want a highlight on it. Because they have this big shiny highlight on the left-hand side. Make it look like it's reflective. Something like that. And they also do that in older games because of limitations. Yeah, exactly. So in older games, you physically do not have enough memory on the GPU, so to speak, to have too many colors on screen. Hardware just wouldn't support it. I just noticed something interesting. Yeah, sometimes the lighting gets flipped in our Pikmin because we flipped the sprites. But that's fine. Alright, I never know how to make these look good. Just do 1 pixel there. No, that doesn't look right either. I don't know. Because you kind of wanted to imply that it follows the curvature of the thing, so it needs to be somewhat round and not just spherical. Something like that. I don't know. You see, it's on all the different versions of the nectar. Little white specular dot. Around. I don't know. I don't know, it looks good. I mean, overall that looks kind of where we're going for. Maybe this top orange line could be thicker. I don't think I did that the same on both sides. Whoops. Not even close. There we go. Yeah, that makes it look a little more round. Say it looks good enough. Fair enough. Okay, so we got our thing. Back in words. For nectar. Alright, so this doesn't take up the full square. We can move it up here, so it's just 2 wide, but only 1 tile tall. Poyo! Hello, Lowell. How's it going? Good morning, yes. Alright. So then, crucially, as Pikmin drink up the nectar, it gets smaller and smaller. So we need to do the same thing here. So we're just going to take this and we're going to compact it down a little bit. So I'm going to delete 1/2 of it. And instead of completely redrawing this, I'm going to try just moving things over slightly. There we go. That still seems to convey the same idea, while being narrower. Our lines are mostly intact. Maybe just this yellow needs to be fixed here. There we go. So that's shrunk down a few pixels. You can copy this again. Now we got the highlight, so we need to paint out the highlight on the other side. Otherwise it looks like a face. There we go. It's not a drastic size decrease, but it's something. Hello, Schwinn. How's it going? How's it going? So then the next size down could probably be even more drastically small. So let's see. Let's sacrifice a few pixels of horizontal space here. And I created an awkward corner. Let's see. How's the Pikmin game? It's coming along. Currently working on adding nectar, and I didn't have sprites for that in the sprite sheet, so we're making some of our own. Let's chop off these harsh corners here. I think that's going to help some. Make the whole thing look rounder. There we go. Yeah, that helps. That definitely helps. I'm not a pixel artist. I just play one on twitch.tv. There we go. It definitely noticeably feels smaller. Alright, and then this. I feel like the top needs to be shorter still. There we go, a little bit narrower too. This is no longer a oval shape. This is now just a tortured chunk of something, but don't worry about it. It's fine. Alright, at this point we can pretty much repaint the interior since everything's moved around a bunch. So this orange needs to be thicker again. There we go. And then this yellow needs to be fixed. And the orange isn't quite right. There we go. Everything else looks good except for this highlight. Now we probably just had to repaint entirely. There we go, something like that. Whoops, not the whole image. There we go. Yeah, it looks a lot worse, unfortunately, than the larger size at this point, but it's not going to be relevant for very long because the Pikmin are slurping it up. Maybe just like one more size when it's smaller than a pellet. And that'll be good. Okay. So this weird edge here is a problem. So let's move all this inward. And down as well. Oh, let's chop out that corner. Move that in. Move all this down. Maybe move not all of that down. That. This whole thing could be a little bit flatter still, I think. That line is a little bit weird now. This method of just squishing things down, I think, starts to fall apart about at this scale. There we go. Looks a little better. Well, that does look like a sad slime. See, we could probably even squish this down even further. Horizontally. Maybe even more than that. And lose one more layer of verticality. There we go, that's good. Now it looks like a nice little puddle. A big glob of nectar goes down to a small little bit. Cool, that should be good. Let's see. Now that we have the sprite for it, how does nectar work in Pikmin? So I can replicate the gameplay too. Hang a leaf or bud, Pikmin that passes by a drop of nectar on the ground will crouch down and begin to slurp it for roughly 2 seconds. It just does. True. And as slurp, it will jump up, and the leaf or bud on its head will turn into a flower. I think we can switch to the Pikmin 3 and 4 method of doing a fixed number of Pikmin. I think that's a little more exciting, especially when you don't have control over the Pikmin in this idle game. So it kind of suck if some randomly walked into it. So a single drop of nectar can flower 10 Pikmin. Sounds good, sounds good. And Pikmin Bloom has its own stuff. Okay, so let's start by loading the sprite into the game. This highlight looks too big on the small one. I zoomed out real quick. There we go, just something like that. Okay. So let's update our sprite sheet. Did I move the whole image over? Is that what that's about? I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna assume that wherever I had it was fine. Okay, so anyway, we need to grab the coordinates of the sprite so we can load it into the game. Let's see. 928 is our horizontal coordinate, our x coordinate. Go to our sprite file. So let's say, how do I do this? Is it like Pikmin red? Yeah, okay, so nectar yellow. Let's go with that. We don't have up, down, left, right frames, but we do have progression for how much it's slurped up. I think the easiest way to do that would be to treat it as an animation. No, it wouldn't. So we don't want the nectar automatically depleting just because it exists. So let's say full. I'm juggling things. Where is sprite sheet? There we go. 928, 0, 64 width, 32 height. Offset, to put it in the center, that'll probably be 32 on the width, 16 on the height. Is that right? I think so. 1 frame. Yes, doesn't matter, but we'll say 1. There we go. And then every other frame is just that, but down by 32 pixels on the y-axis each time. The next one is 32 pixels further down, and this would be after 2 Pikmin have drank it. So, 4/5. And then 3/5. So that'll be 64. 2/5. So 32, 64, 96. I can do that math in my head. And 1/5. 128. I double check that. So this should be 128 in height. My coordinates. And it's 96. Never mind. Full. 4/5, 3/5, 2/5. We don't have a 1/5. That's not a sprite. I guess we could make one. So if it can sustain 10 Pikmin per nectar drop, then we could have it so that we have 5 frames, and so every 2 Pikmin that drink from it drops it down by 1. Or if we just have 4, then it'd be like 2.5, which is kind of awkward. We probably want to change the size immediately just so you know that any Pikmin have drank from it. So we want to round up. I guess it's fine. We can just linearly interpolate. This would be at 3/4. Half. 1/4. There we go, something like that. Sounds good, sounds good. And we'll just pick which one to display based on how much has been drank. So there's our sprites. Now let's define what nectar looks like in the system. So it's going to be an entity. It's going to have a position, color, animation, all of that. It's not a Pikmin. It's not an onion. It is not a collectible. It's its own thing, which is kind of interesting. It's not going to get carried by Pikmin. So we'll just say nectar for now. Don't know what to make it have in common with other things right now, other than just position. Alright. So what does nectar have as a property? It has how many Pikmin have drank from it. So like the amount. So let's just say like, I don't know. Just amount. That's probably fine. How much nectar it has in this particular pile of nectar. And I guess that's it. I guess we didn't know which Pikmin are drinking it. That's relevant information. So we'll say drinkers. Our list of drinkers that are drinking this particular nectar. Okay. And then I think we need a new Pikmin command as well. So when Pikmin go to drink nectar, so we got the pickup command for when they're going to pick up something that's collectible. We call it when they're going to drink something. It's like move to drink. Something basic. And then a command type for when they're actually drinking. And then we need to know which nectar they're trying to drink. There's something like that. And where do we define that up here? There we go. So we got our new Pikmin commands. We got nectar. So now we need to do all the stuff to actually make this interactable. Actually draw the nectar on the field. So let's keep track of all the nectar in the game. I call them nectars, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's what it is. I don't know, nectar drops? Would that be a better way to put it? A nectar drop is one puddle of nectar. Something like that. Nectar drops. I like that better. It's always called a nectar? Yeah. Understandable. Okay, there we go. And then the Pikmin themselves don't keep track of what collectible they're carrying, but the command keeps track of which one they're trying to do, so that works. Okay. So we got our nectar drops. So I need to modify here. When we start, we can spawn in some nectar. So let's just make like 10 nectar piles just for testing. Oh, nectar drop. So each nectar drop can support 10 Pikmin normally, unless it's been partially drunk already. We'll place them at just random places in the window for now. They don't really have animation offsets, but that doesn't matter. You can just give them a random number for that anyway. Color. They don't really have a specific Pikmin color, so we'll just say none. We don't have a specific entity type for nectar drop yet. Let's fix that. There we go. And they have an empty list of drinkers because they haven't been drunk yet. So we create the drop, and then we add that to our list of all nectar drops. And our list of all entities as well. There we go. So now we should spawn in nectar drops, but that doesn't mean anything because they're not actually rendered to the screen yet. That doesn't help us at all. So let's do that next. So where's our rendering code? Redraw, here we go. For all entities, so we got logic if they're a Pikmin, if they're an onion, if they're a pellet. So if they are a nectar drop, then we need to pick which sprite to draw based on that. So let's come with like a fraction of how much has been drunk already. That's a good way to do it. Oh, I suppose we should also keep track of then the initial size of the nectar drop, so we know how much of it's been depleted. No, actually, that's not how we want to do it. I know what we can do. Let's make it based on the remaining amount, but like if there's 2 remaining, then it always uses the same sprite no matter what, even if the initial size was that small. So let's see, nectar drop sprites, and let's say this is a list of sprites. So if the amount is 0, shouldn't draw anything. If it has 1 remaining, then we want to draw it at 1/4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the most it can have is 10. So that should cover it. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So when nothing's drunk, it's at full. When it's been drunk the next 2 times, it's at 3/4. Next 3 times maybe. Then it's at half. For 3 Pikmin's worth, then it's at 1/4 for 3 Pikmin's worth, and it's gone. Alright, that should work. So for every 3 Pikmin, the size will go down except for the first time. So we'll just use the later entry in this list depending on how much of an amount we have left. Nectar, nectar sprite, nectar drop sprites, and then we use the amount remaining, but we don't have it here. How do we check for that? I think we need to change our logic here a little bit. Say instead of entity, we'll use entity base here. Move this generic. We're going to make it so that when we check for the entity type, that'll tell us exactly which type of entity it is and all the fields on it. So this pattern is going to let us do that. If we say it Pikmin always has an entity type of Pikmin. Onion always has a type of onion. Collectible has a couple different entity types that it could be, potentially. But for now, it's always a pellet. And an entity could be any one of those things. Could be a Pikmin. Be an onion. Could be a collectible. Could be a nectar drop. There we go. Yeah, so now it knows that this is a nectar drop. So we can grab the amount, use that to get the sprite. And we draw that nectar sprite. There we go. So now if we reload, this should have nectar being drawn to the screen. Yep, there we go. Look at that. Got some nectar clumps. Apparently the Pikmin won't interact with them at all, but they're there. I'd say they're reasonably visually distinct. They have to look better tiny like that than they did zoomed in. So now let's have the Pikmin walk to them and drink from them. So let's update our Pikmin logic here. So currently when the Pikmin is idle, it'll try to grab any nearby collectibles. So then we can also have it say if it can't find any collectibles, then it'll look for nectar instead. Alternatively, we can have it pick randomly from both nectar and collectibles? I don't know. We probably want Pikmin to carry stuff if they can first. And then if they happen to find nectar instead, then they'll go grab the nectar instead. Let's see. Nearby nectar drops. So we need to find ones where the distance between the nectar drop's position and the Pikmin's position is less than... Let's say they're more likely to chase down nectar than collectibles. Need to learn how to do TypeScript better so I can do things like this. TypeScript is really cool. I really like dependent typing. You can do some really powerful things with IntelliSense that way. And it's so much better than trying to keep track of all the types in your head with JavaScript, because that's effectively what you end up doing. Now let's see. So we also shouldn't go try to drink any nectar where there's already 10 Pikmin drinking the nectar. So let's check to see if there are fewer drinkers than there is a remaining amount in the nectar drop. Just like we do with carrying objects, they don't try to carry things if there's already too many people carrying them. So we'll just modify that. So if there's a nearby collectible, then it picks a random collectible to pick up. Otherwise, if there's a nearby nectar drop, then we grab a random one from that list. So move to drink. Nectar drop is that nearby nectar drop. Our steel data types by default is so awful. No, I disagree. Honestly, working with data types is pretty much... I can't think of any program where you wouldn't be able to... where you'd be able to get away with not thinking about data types. So being explicit about your data types just feels right to me. It's like if you write like 1,000 lines of Python, when you write it, you know what type of data is flowing from one function to the next. But, you know, you come back a year later with no documentation, and you gotta figure out again from scratch what shape the data's in at every step. And you could potentially pass the wrong things in and cause runtime errors. Scratch? I think even Scratch has data types, doesn't it? 'Cause you got like Boolean logic and stuff. You can't just say if 5. Just like if 5 equals something else. More so in terms of syntax like Java. That is fair. Java is very verbose. And something I like about TypeScript is when you're writing TypeScript correctly, you don't actually have to write types everywhere. Like, look at this code here. And I've seen you telling me the code of their API in JSON. That was a fun meeting. Yeah, if they've magically created a JSON-based declarative language to write their API, that's pretty cool. But that seems unlikely. Like in this whole block of logic here, I have no explicit typing. I didn't specify the type of nearby collectibles, but it inferred that it's a list of collectibles. I didn't specify the type of nearby nectar drops, but it inferred it's nectar drops. I didn't specify the type of nearby collectible, but it knows it's collectible. And it knows that this Pikmin command is a pickup command. Or this is move to drink command is a move to drink command, and it'll tell me, hey, you're missing property nectar drop, because that's a property on this type of command. I didn't have to specify that this was a move to drink command with something big and obvious, like... I didn't have to specify the types manually, I just inferred it. And I think that's what's really powerful about TypeScript, is the fact that I can just define the types once in the shape that I need, and then TypeScript will automatically infer at every step in the code what the actual shapes of everything are, and prevent me from doing the wrong thing with the wrong types of shapes. It also means I can do stuff like just check this IntelliSense here, and I know what properties are on this object, because the editor will tell me right now. So I can't be like, oh, let me check the start property. And it knows, oh, well, this is a move to drink command. So that doesn't have a start X, even though a pickup command does. And it knows because I just assigned it, that's the type it is. It's really, really powerful. And it honestly makes this my favorite language over stuff like C# and Java. Even though it's ultimately JavaScript under the hood. Because implicit but strong typing is just so powerful. And it's so freeing. I basically just write the types and then all the code just flows from there. Don't even have to think about it after that. But I've yet to convince anyone else that that's valuable, unfortunately. I'm not a very good evangelist for it. Okay, so anyway. So we've added it so that when the Pikmin is idle, they will look for nectar drops to move to. But currently they don't actually move to the nectar drop. They just get the command to do it. So now we need to implement that command type. Good. You're convinced, to be honest? Fair enough. Cool, so we're going to check to see if the command is a move to drink command by comparing its type value. And since it is, we can see that this has the nectar drop property, because it inferred only nectar drop commands can have that property value. So this all works out thanks to the hydrate. It's so cool. I love type cards. Alrighty. So, for moving to drink nectar, that's almost exactly the same as picking up a collectible. So let's start there. We're just gonna quietly copy and paste all that code. Then modify it some. I keep looking at the wrong screen because I got OBS on one screen and the code editor on the other. Alright. So we got our nectar drop, and if the nectar drop gets deleted, then we want to go idle. That makes sense. So any Pikmin that try to drink a nectar drop that's already gone, don't get confused, they just leave. And then we want to move the Pikmin towards the nectar drop. Normally, there is a certain radius around a carryable item, and that's what that is. For nectar drops, we can just hard code that. Or make it based on the remaining amount, maybe? We can say... So at its widest point, the nectar drop is 48 pixels across. That's when it has 10 remaining. So we want a max of 48 or thereabouts. And then at a minimum, when it's at its smallest, it is 30 pixels across. So we need an equation that'll get us somewhere in that range and scaled based on the amount. Now it goes between 10 to 0. So I think we can just do something like 30, our minimum, plus amount times 2. So if we scale amount times 2, then that becomes between 20 and 0. And the difference between 30 and 48 is about 20. So something like that should work. Okay, and this is where it gets funky. We probably don't need a lot of this extra code here. So if the carriers are less than the carry limit, so I think we do have an equivalent for this. So if we arrive at the nectar drop, and there are fewer drinkers than the amount of drinkers there can be left, when we do that, we start drinking. Then we switch to a drink command to just drink the nectar. We don't need a destination because we're not dragging it anywhere. That works. Okay, and I think this is all just to calculate the destination. And none of that matters because we are not carrying the nectar to a destination. So I think we can just get rid of all that code. There we go. So now when we move to drink, if it's deleted, we go idle. Otherwise, we move towards it. When we arrive, if there are slots left, essentially, to be drinking the nectar, then we switch to drinking. Otherwise, we go idle. That works. That tell me to redeem a hydrate every time you say drink. That is not the kind of drinking game I was expecting. I do need to stay hydrated though, so you know, it doesn't hurt. Okay, and then when we actually start drinking, we do that. I'm gonna add another property to this command type here. So Pikmin should be drinking for a certain amount of time, and then they actually get the benefit of drinking. So let's say drink time. So and how long does it take Pikmin to drink the nectar? Roughly 2 seconds. Alright, so we can just arbitrarily pick a number here. So let's just say 2 seconds. Easy enough. Said a lot of things would start hurting. Yeah, if you drink too much water, water poisoning is a thing. Set to constantly be getting up to go refill it. So I don't have a very large cup here. Okay, so when a Pikmin is drinking from the nectar drop, we will decrease the drink time, how long they have left to drink, by delta time. So essentially, drink time will get reduced by 1 second every second. Is essentially what that means. You have the same thing with idle. So when you're idle, we decrease idle time by the delta time, and then when it passes 0, we do logic. So we're going to do the same thing here. If it decreases to below 0, or at 0, then we have successfully drank the nectar. So when you drink the nectar, you become flowered, right? Leaf or bud on its head will turn into a flower. Yep. Okay, so we will change the Pikmin's maturity level to flower. And then the bud, or the nectar drops amount is going to decrease. I'll have one fewer Pikmin drinking it. And then I think we want to stop carrying it as well, so we want to remove ourselves from the list of drinkers. Let's just grab the nectar drop here, so we're not duplicating that code everywhere. I feel like writing a utility function for this because I'm lazy. Oh, we do have a utility function for this already. Perfect. Remove. There's a boss. Run! Yeah, the boss is the complexity of my code. So remove the Pikmin from the list of drinkers. Become flower. And then we need to give up. Let's see. Yeah, we just make them go idle. Same as we did with the carrier. Okay, and then if the amount of the nectar is reduced to less than or below 0. Should never go below 0. Should never be negative, but you never know. Then we want to delete the drop. Let's see. How does deleting work? Oh, we just immediately add it and remove it from the list. Makes sense. nectar drops. D. Remove entities. Nectar drop. Yeah, okay. So if we've completely drained the nectar drop, then we delete it. Remove it from consideration. Makes sense. Okay, and then I think we also need to double check to make sure that somehow the nectar still has an amount left, and that we're not already flowered. Because if we're flowered, then we can't drink the nectar. So if somehow the amount has gone below 0, or we are already a flower Pikmin, then we should stop drinking. And go idle. That should work. I guess similarly here, if we're moving to drink from nectar, but it's already drained, or we are already a flower. That should all work. Okay. Looks good, looks good. So let's try this out. So currently all of our Pikmin are a random maturity. When we spawn them in, let's fix that so that they are always a leaf initially. So instead of being a random maturity, let's just make them always a leaf. Okay, so we did all that. Now let's see if any Pikmin become flower Pikmin. I'm going to focus on the collectibles first, so it might take a bit. I see quite a few flowers, so they must be doing it, but I haven't noticed any. So balloon doing the bottom right, yeah. And it crashed. Neat. So how did that happen? You're right. I think our distance is off on that. Right, because it should be radius, and instead we were doing the math at the diameter. So that's why. All right, so the nectar drop was deleted somehow when we were moving to drink. So let's take a look at that. And let's go ahead and fix that distance as well. And let's reduce the number of pellets. We don't need that many pellets. Okay. And see, so the problem here is when I got that 30 and 48 number, I was measuring the diameter, the width of the whole nectar drop, when it should be half that. Because it should be the radius, the distance that they need to go to get to the center. So let's have that. That should work better. Okay. Yeah, let's give that a try. And there they are. They're sipping. They're drinking. And you can see the piles going down. They could probably stand to be even closer. But the idea is there. Nice. So they do drink the nectar now. That's fun. So let's just decrease that even more. Unfortunately, we're not in 3D, so animation's expensive, so we can't make little animations every time they get their flowers. But that is a thing. So they are draining the piles and becoming flowered. There we go. There's a new mechanic added. There you go. I'm out of water already. Okay. Oh, it's just that easy. Uh-huh. Now what? I won't go super late tonight since we did start super late and I got other stuff going on, so maybe we call it short today. It's only been an hour and a half, but I don't know. Well, let's see. We can go for 30 more minutes, maybe. So let's see. What do we do next? Combat would be cool. That's going to be pretty complicated. So let's see. Start working on mobs? Yeah, probably. We should probably get started on that. It's going to be a lot of work to integrate that, but we're going to need to do it one way or another. So let's get started. Not to do everything today. No. We'll certainly not be doing everything today. That's for sure. Okay, so let's start with the dwarf bulb orb. I think that's a good starting point. Nice small little guys. I'm just going to copy all this over to the other sheet so we can start using that as reference. Okay. So we got our guy. So we're going to need to make walking animations, same as the other one. So what order do we have here? Down first. We can start there. And some of these have an open mouth and some of these don't. That's confusing to me. So we probably want to separate these into mouth open and mouth not open animations. Maybe they only open the mouth when they are currently biting. That would make sense. So we're going to have to edit these. Let's start with this guy. Should the music be off? No, it should not be off. Why is it off? Ah. Are you still watching? Yes, I am. Well, technically no. Technically I'm not watching. Technically I'm listening. But screw you, I'm not paying for YouTube music. Okay, these guys just barely fit in that box, but I think we can just go ahead and make them taller. I think we might have to in here for the sideways ones. And I bet the horizontal frames don't fit in either, do they? Yeah, no, they're too wide anyway. So these guys are just gonna have to take a 2x2 space of tiles here. Is what it is. I'm kind of aiming for center of mass here, so I'm gonna align it based on a little mustache thing. I guess that's their nose. Alright, there we go. And we'll just stick the standing animation here. Alright, and let's make sure that the body's lined up here, even though our alignment points aren't the same. There we go. And then when it's chewing, I guess we'd need this frame again as well. So open mouth, closed mouth, and it can alternate between those. Something like that. Those 5 frames. That should work. Okay, so we got down, up. So up is next. We don't have vertical eating animations, is what it is. Alright, and center of mass for this. Hard to say. Same with like that line there, that looks about the same. So this is something you could totally notice in a sprite-based game, is you'll notice that the animations, like their visible center point, may not be the same from direction to direction, animation to animation. They tend to jump around a little bit, especially in indie, modern high-pixel art style graphics. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So we'll just have 2 of these duplicated for the eating animation. Alright, and then right, and then left. Okay, so for this, we need most of the animations to have closed mouth. So we're gonna have to edit these. Use the other body type. Easy enough. So we can just copy and paste this over. And we have to paint out the lines that are different. Just a little bit of a pain. Ah, it's not even the same, it's offset slightly. That's obnoxious, so we can't even just copy and paste this over. And let's just make like just the mouth part. Yeah, I think that goes there, yeah. Now it looks all confusing. So let's just delete the pixels that are extraneous now. Looking at the other one for reference. There you go, so I think something like that. And then these pixels here. That looks so derpy. I guess bulwarps do look derpy. Okay, do they have any other frames of that? Bulwarp just looks happy to be here. Fair enough. Okay. Now we gotta do the same thing. These others as well. There we go. Delete the extra pixels. Can't tell what part of this is the mouth and what part of this is the foot. I think we are deleting part of the foot here. Roll with it. No one's gonna notice. Yeah, it's gonna be super tiny when it's actually on screen. Okay, there we go. And then the eating animation. Must be this frame. And the standing frame again. Let's see. Alright, so center of mass. Let's get between the legs. And let's line it up with that mouth line, that's fine. Maybe a little bit lower. There we go, like the back of the tail. And then horizontally, yeah, there we go. Make sure I'm not cutting off parts of this sprite here. They put them right next to each other. There we go. I got a full walk cycle, which is different for the other directions. I'll think about that one. Now we can use all the same frames. Here we go. Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, ba-da-dum, ba-dum, 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 ba-da-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Do you like this music? Okay. So now we can get rid of all these because we don't have walking with mouth open frames. And then we need to fix this guy to not have an open mouth. There we go. Delete all these pixels. There we go. Perfect. Alrighty. So we ended up with all that. So we got 5 frames of walking. Is that right? Now for this bottom one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, 5 frames of walking, that's right. And 2 frames for eating. These ones we've got less than that. So let's just duplicate these frames. Line them up. And I think we need to copy the standing frame again as well. In the middle of the walking animation. So I'm gonna move this over even further. There we go. Copy all this. Alright, and then we can copy these walking frames over. And so hydrate again. There we go. A lot of animation frames, so now it's all lined up. So, is that 6 frames of walking? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 2 for chomping. That should do it. And we just need to flip all these around for the other direction. Come on. There we go. Okay, so first should be the standing frame. Front-facing Bulber looks kind of like Sami. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. And then the others don't really matter. There we go. That should do it. And the last 2 eating frames. Oops. That should be right below, actually. The open mouth frame and then the closed mouth frame. There we go. Okay, all that work, but now I think we got our animations in place. Our sprites. Okay. So let's get some bulbarbs in there. So our first frame here at 0, 768, and 64 by 64 pixels. This is going to be similar to the Pikmin, but without the colors. And with the directions. Bulborb dwarf. And what did I call it up there? Down, up, right, left. Okay, so now we fill all these out. So down is the first one, that's at 0, 768. And the size of these frames is 64 by 64 pixels. So we'll just put them dead center. Then each walking animation is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames. Frames per second. We'll adjust to see what looks good. But looking at the Pikmin for comparison, those are at 10 frames per second. And the other directions are the same, just slightly different vertical positions, Y positions in the sprite sheet. So mostly copy and paste. Made frame per minutes instead. Potentially be a very slow animation unless you do lots of frames per minute. Alright, 832. $8.96. A PowerPoint presentation, basically. There you go, 960. Okay, so that should be our walking animations. So Bulborb Dwarf Walk. It's a Dwarf Bulborb Walk. It's more in common with the other dwarves than it does with the Bulborbs in terms of size. Okay. Const Dwarf, Bulborb, Walk Sprites. So we need to map from direction to sprite definition. Okay. So, first one's down, I think. No, up. Yeah. Alright, it's dot dwarf bulborb, walk dot up. Down. Right. There we go. So now our sprites should be set up, so now we have to actually spawn some in and see them on the field. So then we got a new type of entity here. Also for collectibles here. Instead of just doing a raw collectible, let's explicitly define our pellet posies here. So a pellet is a collectible. And we'll just extends this stuff. There we go. A little bit cleaner, so we're not dealing with raw collectibles, but we're working specifically with pellets. In case you wanted to have any unique properties on that. Okay, so now let's define our enemy. Or maybe monster. So technically not every creature in the game is an enemy. There we go. Wow. Let's see. So a collectible could be a pellet. That works. Ba-dum 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 ba-da-dum ba-dum ba-dum bum ba-da-dum ba-dum 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 ba-da-dum ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 bum. Okay. Yep. Okay, so we got a monster. So monster is an entity, so it has XY position, all that. Does every entity really need a color? I guess most of our entities do in some way, so sure, why not? Let's see. So properties do monsters have in Pikmin? Enemies, literally primitive creature. Nice. Indigenous species of PNF 404. So I guess they can become collectibles when they die, which is interesting. They can become corpses. We'll figure that out later. Most enemies roam around a specific location. They patrol, they move around. Cool. Well, let's start with what we need to draw them. So they're similar to Pikmin in that they move around. So what do we have on Pikmin here? So Pikmin have a direction that they face and a command that they're given. So I think monsters might also have commands in a sense that dictate what they're currently doing AI-wise, but we'll get to that later. For now, we just need a direction to know what direction the bulborbs are facing. Dwarf bulborbs. So let's start there. Dwarf bulborb. So we need Dwarf Bulborb. As a new entity type. There we go. So I think at this rate we're only going to be able to just have them on screen. But that is where we can start. We will probably need to make this code more generic to be able to handle different enemy types, but for now we're just going to hard code it like we do everything else. And we'll figure out how to streamline this code later from there. So let's spawn some Bulborbs. Alright, so X, we'll just do a random number, like everything else. Realistically, we wouldn't want them to spawn anywhere, because that could be in the middle of camp. But let's just roll for it for now. These guys don't have a Pikmin color associated with them. They do potentially have a random direction. Can I do that anywhere else? I think when we spawn Pikmin, they probably just immediately are facing down, right? I know, we do have it randomized. Cool. So I'll just borrow that. And they are not automatically deleted. That wouldn't be very useful. Okay. So now we spawn Dwarf Bulborbs, but we're not going to see any of them because we're not drawing them yet. But they're there, trust me. So now we just got to draw them properly. Enemy sprite. Or let's say walk sprite. Probably gonna need to give them some kind of attack and health values. Yeah, most likely. We'll get to that step though. There we go. As in Dwarf Bulborbs walking on screen. They're not going anywhere, but they are playing the walking animation. So it's not super exciting yet, but they're there. I could potentially eat Pikmin once we code that behavior in. Pikmin are busy flowering up and then get stuck. There's nothing to do. It's first time I've seen everything since there's just a billion red Pikmin. Looks awesome. Yeah, we've come a long way, that's for sure. Got Pikmin that can wander around, carry things, drink nectar, spawn more Pikmin. Yep, they just spawned under the onions. We don't have much in the way of animations yet, like fancy interactions and stuff, but the basics are there. Nice. And Bulwark has trying to hide behind one of the red onion's legs. That's trying to, yeah. I see him. He's just staring at you. Alright, well, I think that's a good starting point. I'm tired and it is late. This is normally when I'd be wrapping up the stream if I didn't start an hour and a half later than planned. But, you know, it'd be like that sometimes. So, let's find a raid target. But we did make progress today, so that's cool. We got Nectar implemented and started on enemies. I'll continue doing working on this on Sundays, I think, as long as there's not a collab going on or another game I really want to play. So, I think as it currently stands, I don't have another collab lined up for next Sunday. So we'll probably be doing more of this next week. And of course, we got more Pikmin 4 on Tuesday. I missed this week's because I was sick, but assuming I'm feeling better, which I should hopefully be, we'll have Pikmin 4 stream on Tuesday. And more Fire Emblem on Friday, as always. Which we're getting near the end of the game on that. Just got the last few missions in the main story, and then we'll go to the DLC. So, nearing the end of Fire Emblem. I'm sure we'll find something to fill that time slot with, though. Always forget your tags. I don't have anyone I really want to raid, but I guess we can raid Irvin. It's at least been a few days this time. Not raiding back to back. Once again, I'm reminded I need to make more friends on Twitch. But I'm also antisocial, so Alright, well, thanks for being here, Yazoo, and Schwinn, and Rox, and Lowell. Appreciate you all stopping by, and Sane, of course. How could I forget Sane? It's fun to work on this project. Yeah, I'll see you all next time. Have a great week. We're all able to relax, take it easy.